Alright, what's up, what's good? The Wolf's here with another Let's Talk video. In this one, we're going to be going over some Warner Brother news, WB games, and the kind of rough news that could be happening with WB. Maybe some good news. All depends on what happens with a basically buyout of the company. The parent company, AT&T, is letting go a lot of stuff, namely like DirecTV and such. They're getting rid of, as you can see in the headlines right here. So Take-Two, EA, Activision Blizzard, they've all expressed, interest in buying WB games, and also Microsoft themselves is looking at interest too. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that Microsoft, go ahead, Microsoft, and buy it, put the games on, like the Batman games, and make Mortal Kombat and Injustice on the Game Pass and everything. Well, that's kind of looking short-sighted. We'll get into that, the reason why I'm saying that. So the big ones that are looking, so for me, when I hear it, I start looking at, the different licenses, the different game licenses, the different ways that they treat game developers, and the way that they treat, marketing and everything else. Like, do they care about the products that they're trying to sell? Or is it just another product just to make money? And of course you want, Mortal Kombat and Batman and what is it, Fear Legos, all the different licenses of WB games, all the different developers and people that spend a lot of time, a lot of hard work, a lot of years of their lives making all these great products for us consumers on, the gamers. We want our companies, our developers, to be in good hands, for funding and all that. So if a game does really well, we get another game, not just like a trilogy and that's it, and then they cut it off. So, which is something that I'm really, I'm very conspicuous of Microsoft, because they have had track record of kind of doing that. Same way with EA also. Activision, they tend to kind of milk their products out a little bit more, which is probably a good thing when it comes to long-running series like a Mortal Kombat, and even Batman and such. So anyways, WB, I mean, Microsoft looking at buying them. Let's look into Microsoft. Let's look at their so Microsoft overall. Now, I've said this in videos before. I don't feel like Microsoft is like in their heart's not in the ball game of actually selling video games anymore. I think they're like, hardware wise, the Xbox Series X does not feel like it's a full-on console. It just feels like it's just another kind of box to throw out there just to get some money from people. The xCloud, interesting, but it definitely, cloud-based gaming never works. We've seen it multiple times over again. You need one hell of an internet or an online infrastructure for that to work right. We do not have that, and really nowhere in the world has that just yet. We don't have fiber internet everywhere is where you look. You barely even have that. And even fiber internet, there's still going to be a latency problems on the controls itself. You can actually test that stuff out using, I'm very sure, is it xCloud? Or I know that you can stream games to like the, what is it, is it Game Pass or something like that? You can stream games like Xbox games to your PC. I know that you can do that. I've tried it before. I can't remember exactly which programs it is and all that stuff. It was like the Xbox Companion app. I used that to like beam the game over to my PC and everything, and it worked all right. I won't say it was terrible or anything. I do have a solid internet connection for it, gigabyte internet, so it worked all right. But the latency on the controls was still an issue, which even on PlayStation Now, like I said, I'm not a fanboy of one company or the other. If it works, it works. I'm there. If it's cool, I'm there. Logos don't really make me go ooh and ah and everything. So I've tried even PlayStation Now. I had the same problem there also. There's a reason why Stadia has not really taken off as much as Google, I think, wanted it to. Popularity wise, nobody really went, ooh, Stadia, I want that. No, it's just not happening. So anyways, back to Microsoft. So Microsoft, as I said, it doesn't feel like they feel like they're more in the well, they're not even in the entertainment realm of things. They're more into helping out hospitals and doing like science stuff with software and technology and everything. They do have. Let's go into here. So they do have. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can kind of see it. Where is it? So Satya Nadella, which a lot of business stuff that he does, I do not agree with. But it's just because I'm a gamer and it doesn't feel like he likes gaming like that much at all. So they do have cloud computing, Azure technology, which they have used with the xCloud for the Xbox environment. But again, they're using Azure technology more for like AI-based learning programs and such, which is outside of gaming. I know every game has AI built into it, but they're not using it for AI for gaming. They're using it for more or less doing. Trying to do like science stuff with AI learning, and doing like R&D with AI programming to try and figure out effects of stuff and everything. Like you see in the movies before and everything. That's basically what they're using the Microsoft branded software for. Not really doing anything to push gaming forward, because like I said, I don't think they're into gaming as much as they used to be. HoloLens, same difference with that. They're using it more for like, okay, so we can do a doctor's appointment through a HoloLens and such like that. It's not like the VR tech that PlayStation has been pushing, Sony's been pushing, to push forward a new version of, like instead of going Oculus or whatever or Vive, you go with your PlayStation VR. So I don't know. It's just like, and on top of that too, Microsoft does not have the best of track records when it comes to let's click into the Xbox side of things here. So into the Xbox realm with Microsoft, of course. So if Microsoft was to acquire WB Games, and the reason why, let's backtrack one split second here. The reason why AT&T is looking to sell everything is because they're doing kind of rough when it comes to funding and keeping the company up and running and everything. Selling CNN Center, eventually relocating CNN to Ted Turner's office space. They are also selling pretty much everything Warner Media. WB overall, so Warner Brothers overall, is getting sold from AT&T. I think that they are finalizing a deal of DirecTV soon. And I'm not just reading the headlines. I was actually checking out a bunch of stuff, between Twitter and, looking into different news sources and everything. And what I'm getting from it is AT&T, they took a gamble buying DirecTV, buying like the WB Studios and stuff for movies, like the DC movies. They thought, well, Marvel does such a good job, we'll get the DC side of things. And of course, DC movies do not do half as good as Marvel movies. That's just a fact. I wish they did. I like Batman. I like all that, the Justice League and all that stuff. The Harley Quinn, she's cool. I wish DC would do better things. It's just they don't. So anyways, so that talking point there. So AT&T selling off a bunch of stuff. So now we're back over to Microsoft, possibly. So it's Microsoft, it is Activision, it is EA, and it is 2K. They're all looking at acquiring WB Games. So this is, I focus on the video game side of things. So this is where we're talking about in this conversation. So Xbox, Microsoft, if they were to buy WB Games, and this is like the most popular opinion one, that, just buy it, throw it all on Game Pass. That doesn't mean that's going to happen, first of all, because licensing, and is Microsoft willing to fork over the cash to pay WB for all the licenses to the games? Will we actually even see Batman and all the DLC and everything on Game Pass? Will we see the Legos? Will we see something like Fear? Because we know that WB Games, let's go into their wiki for a second, and I know you're going to say, well, the wiki's not always right. Well, it's usually pretty spot on when it comes to video game licenses and what they end up making. So one of the biggest ones for me, I mean, if Microsoft was to bring back the Matrix Path and Neo, which is in here somewheres in this long list of games, that'd be mind-blowing for me. I would love to see that. Also Batman, make more Arkham City games. That'd be awesome right there. Mortal Kombat, absolutely. I do a bunch of Mortal Kombat stuff. I love Mortal Kombat. So Injustice, another really fun game. I've always loved the Injustice series. It's just a little zony for my taste and a lot of people's taste, but there is a lot, there's a lot of like Legos, I think. So here's the thing. Xbox already has a bunch of Lego stuff that they've been doing stuff with before, and my gut feeling says if they acquire WB Games, they will focus on something like Legos, maybe even the Watchmen, or do something with that license, maybe where the wild things are. So it's like the movie licenses like that, like WB movies. That's what they'll focus on. The Bachelor, the video game. Do we really need more games like that when we could have more Mortal Kombat and more Batman? Maybe. Okay, and here's the other one. Okay, so with that being in mind of Xbox and the way that they love to close down developer studios too, when it might not be, in their opinion, making them as much of a profit or whatever as they think it's going to do or whatever on that. So let's go over to another company. Again, not the best fit. EA. I don't see why EA would be looking at WB at all, really, other than maybe the, let's see here, development studios. So maybe something like a BioWare to try and make, they try and do some adventure games with, so BioWare, which, makes Mass Effect, which makes Anthem and all that. It's a very kind of former shell of what it was before. There is a handful of people that are still there from like the old Mass Effect days. I know Casey Hudson is still around and everything. DICE, they do still tend to try and make some story-based stuff, which is cool. EA Mobile, not seeing how that's going to help. EA Montreal, Vancouver, Tiburon. Usually these are focused on Battlefield, if I'm not mistaken, right? Oh, no. Army of Two and such. Tiburon, I think you did NASCAR, NFL, but that was like way back in the day. What have you made recently? Nothing, because now it's Tiburon will be moving its headquarters to Maryland, and the headquarters they expect to be completed in 2021. So they're not even making games right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing too much of what they. Oh, Respawn, of course, made the latest Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So maybe the Batman series could fall underneath somewheres in Respawn territory, and they continue making story-based games that way. I do remember that Dead Space was also EA, but yeah, okay, Frostbite Labs, Stockholm, Sweden. So yeah, I'm not seeing EA having too big of a, you're getting kind of an inside look of how my brain tends to operate when looking up stuff. So 2K's got a little bit more of a credibility, I'd say. So we got to go 2K Games. That's not what I was trying to do. Wow. 2K Studios. So 2K Studios, 31 Union what does these guys make? It's a division. Yes, it is. Silicon Valley, Sledgehammer Games, co-founder as a lead. Condry, really? Yeah, I don't know. So they haven't really done anything yet. Founded in 2019. Oh, this is okay. I've seen this. Yes, I've seen that on Twitter. I think it was Cat Daddy Games, Gladiator, Carnival. Okay, so kind of. Yeah, and WWE Supercard, so kind of more mobile-based games these guys are making. Mafia 3 Rivals, definitely mobile games. This is their mobile game division. Fire Axis. What we got here? Sid Meier's Civilization Games, yeah. Okay, Civilization Games. So that's that studio that does the what is it? Real-time strategy or turn-based, I should say. Hangar 13. They make the Mafia games, which, again, I mean, maybe Batman fall underneath the Mafia kind of thing. Story-driven kind of single-player gameplay. I don't see an visual concepts. Of course, make NBA and WWE, which is like two of my favorites. Always has been. Yeah, so they are just in the middle of making NBA and WWE games, which they are just like, bing bonging off from one another, trying to make the best product there. We know what happened with 2K21 or 2K20. I mean, half of the developer studio just took off. So 2K, I can't see either, which leaves us with Activision. Now, Activision would probably be, in my money, would be the best fit. Let's go into reasons why. So, Activision, they're on a decent track record right now. As of the recording of this video, whether you like them or hate them, which you either love them or hate them, there is really no in between. Activision is actually on a pretty good roll. Warzone, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Sekiro, all have been pretty damn good titles. And those are some of the latest games that they put out. So let's go with studios. So Beanox is currently doing the Crash Bandicoot, Crash 4, and Tony Hawk. And they just got done with the MW2 remastered campaign. That's pretty good. Which means so this is actually a huge one. So the Crash Bandicoot campaign being done by them, CTR, which means, I mean, that ends where Toys for Bob's also means that. Which Toys for Bob's is the actual Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So what that's telling me is that they actually don't mind doing remasters. Activision does not mind funding remasters. They don't mind putting a good amount of resources into making remasters. What does one license that could be easily remastered and make a bunch of money? Hint, hint. It's called Fear. There's a bunch of people that would love to see the Fear series be brought back into the daylight. And if they had the publishers, around, that actually went. The last one was in 2011. Imagine the trilogy, because it is a trilogy, right? I'm very sure it's a trilogy. The Fear series. Let me see here. Yeah. So it's mostly, yeah, pretty much just a trilogy. So, what that's telling me is, and you know what? Let me actually just put my camera on the other side of the screen. This whole time I've been doing this. We're going to do that. So what that's telling me is that, yes, okay, so Fear is a trilogy. You'd have the best chance of seeing the Fear trilogy come back underneath the Activision umbrella. On top of that, they would most likely keep the Legos games going because Activision is about money. We all know this. They're about selling stuff. They're about making a lot of money. So why would they not make Lego games? Those sell very easily and very well. What else do we have underneath? The Arkham City games. So Batman, Sekiro, Crash, and Spyro tell me that Activision still has a very big thing for single player story driven games. And why would they not keep the Batman trilogy or the Batman series, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, whatever you want to call them, the Batman Arkham series going if they liked story driven games like that? Why would they not? You're printing money at that point. Activision loves to print money. They love to make money. So that right there is already a few big hits that you could see keep going pretty easily. Now, Middle Earth, I don't know. I didn't really get into these games, but there is a very big market for Lord of the Rings. There was a lot of people that like these. So, my personal opinion aside, Activision, once again, I mean, they make Sekiro, for God's sakes. Why would they not keep Middle Earth going? That just makes sense. Dying Light, that's another one. That's a very crazy. Wow, WWE Immortals on. That's crazy. But Dying Light, I mean, that's a series that could use some funding, and I think Activision would go all in on that too. Why would they not? And we would absolutely see, like, Activision loves multiplayer gaming. I mean, come on, Call of Duty. And Blizzard's side of things too. They love multiplayer gaming. What is Blizzard? Blizzard is I do not play Blizzard games. What is Blizzard? Hold on. So Blizzard Entertainment, they make, is it League or is it World of Warcraft? It's World of Warcraft, isn't it? It's Warcraft. Okay. Multiplayer gaming, right there. That's what I was trying to remember. So World of Warcraft, big multiplayer game. Call of Duty, big multiplayer game. So why would they not keep around, like the Mortal Kombats and the Injustice games and everything, which that just brings them into a whole other market of fighting games, multiplayer fighting games. And those are two very big. Now, fighting games are niche, sure. They don't sell as well as, say, a Call of Duty and everything, but there's still a market there. They can still milk it out for even more games, even more cash, microtransactions. I mean, it's a fighting game. Microtransactions are basically there anyways, between season passes, buying characters separately outside of the season pass and everything, crystals and all that stuff. Microtransactions are already there. It fits Activision's business model. So why would they not? Again, that's basically the whole rundown of WB Games. Activision seems like the most secure spot to keep everything that you love going. Why would you not want Activision to pick up WB Games? It just makes sense. So this has been a Let's Talk on the whole Activision, or the whole WB Games buyout craze that's been going on. Everybody's wondering, everybody's making up their own hypothesis on what's going to happen. They have their own opinions and everything. The Xbox fanboys are being very loud right now. And me, I just want to see some really cool games be made. I want to see some really cool stuff be done. Also, PC ports underneath Activision's umbrella stuff seem to always work pretty decent. Like Warzone works pretty good. Sekiro, I've played on PC, works pretty damn good. The Batman games, I think there was one of them, what was it? Arkham Origins had a little bit of a rough spot, and then they patched it, they updated it, and it works fine. It's because it was a third-party development team or something like that. So it was some different development process that went on. It didn't work in the beginning. They fixed it, but the Arkham, like City and Night and all that stuff, it worked. It worked just fine. You can mod them and everything out. So I see a lot of mods on like Nexus mods for them. So that, with all that being said, I don't know. I see Activision Blizzard. Hopefully that would be the best place for WB Games to end up. Could you imagine even possibly the Mortal Kombat versus the MK versus DC thing already happened, but like an actual good version of that game happened. If WB somehow, because Activision has a lot of money, a lot of sway, if somehow Activision acquired some Marvel license rights and possibly a first time ever in history, I don't know, maybe Marvel versus Injustice, which would be Marvel versus DC, DC versus Marvel, whichever way you want to spin it, that'd be crazy. I think Activision would have probably the best chance of making that happen. On top of that too, I mean, that's a lot of money that can go into WB games on guest characters for Injustice and Mortal Kombat 2. So there's a lot of, Microsoft does not have the biggest sway when it comes to other companies. I can tell you that right now. They work they can work with companies, but they don't have sway over companies. Activision has a lot more of that. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna cut the video right there and say, if you like where I'm heading at, where my head's at on this, where my gut feeling is that Activision Blizzard should be purchased by, or Activision Blizzard should be purchasing WB Games, then you can hit that thumbs up. Share the video around if you like this and all that good stuff. And I will be back on Twitch very soon to streaming once again. Twitch TV/Warwolf. And of course on right here on YouTube, more game playthroughs on the channel of backlog stuff. I will be I can almost guarantee I'll be streaming Ghost of Tsushima launch night when that comes out. So yeah, got a lot of stuff coming up. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for stopping by, and as always, I'll see ya next time.